Today, we're going to talk about the new revolutionary cultural relationship training program. During this presentation, we will cover two objectives. The first objective is to discuss the data that led to the need for the program. The second objective is to discuss the results of the program. An evaluation of the data indicated that most disciplinary infractions resulted from interactions between teachers and students. 70% of the processed disciplinary infractions were a result of interactions between teachers and students. Within that 70%, 40% of the discipline resulted from classroom disruptions, 28% resulted from disrespect towards a teacher, 23% resulted from open defiance, and 9% were in other categories. This is an indication that there existed a clash between teachers and students. We also noted that the student suspension rate was twice the state average for 3 consecutive years. And even though black students only accounted for 33% of the student population, 45% of the processed disciplinary infractions involved black students. The school had teacher, administrator, and student demographics, which indicated that most administrators and teachers were white, while most students were historically underserved. Most students at the school were Hispanic and black. Our conclusion from the data indicated that there was a cultural clash between teachers and students. The data indicated that there was a need for a transformation of the school's culture. We implemented the program successfully, and there was a positive impact on school discipline, student achievement, and teachers. The teachers who were involved in the process have several responses. One teacher wrote, "Just a note to let you know that I felt the Promoting Positive Teacher-Student Classroom Relationships group was a positive thing in our school. I personally wish more teachers were involved. I thought of it as a type of professional development where sharing of ideas was the main goal. I think everyone likes hearing stories about other teachers and their students, and I know teachers like telling their stories. The most useful meeting was the one where we discussed the academic disciplinary choices. I learned a couple of tips for allowing students to make choices, or at least controlled choices." This was a teacher who had been in the district for 17 years. Another teacher wrote, "I recently had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with a student. She was upset about the detention that I assigned for her earlier in the day. During our talk, it became clear to me that I had treated her unfairly. We were able to resolve our issues because we both had mutual respect for each other. When dealing with students, sometimes it's best to be quiet and just listen to what they are saying. That could mean more to them than any advice or instruction you have to share." This was a second-year special education teacher. Finally, another teacher wrote, "There was information from the meetings I attended that helped with student relationships. The biggest item that stands out for me is when it was discussed that most students that are discipline problems also have failing or poor grades. I checked into mine and it was true. Several of my biggest offenders ended up getting classified as special needs during the year and were moved out of my class. But those few that did not switch out, I changed my way of thinking and tried to get them to be more successful academically, so their behavior would be less disruptive in class." This was a second-year math teacher. We also have an implication here that when teachers are given the latitude to overcome the biases that they bring to the classroom and the biases that students bring to the classroom, the teacher is less likely to submit special education referrals. which also means a reduction in historically underserved students getting classified as in need of special education services. As a result of the program, there were three major areas that indicated that the relationships between teachers and students improved. There were major decreases in open defiance, classroom disruptions, and disrespect towards a teacher. We were a little concerned about the increases, so we evaluated the data according to teaching staff and substitute teachers. We found that the increases were due to interactions between substitute teachers and students. It makes sense because substitute teachers do not have as many opportunities to develop positive classroom relationships. In many cases, the substitute's main task is to execute the teacher's lesson plan and keep the class under control. The results were great, especially when we consider that out of 72 teachers, only 8 teachers participated in the process. Overall, we had major decreases in disciplinary infractions. Disciplinary incidents for Black students decreased by 4.5%, and it decreased by 10.9% for Hispanic students. 53% of the student population was Hispanic. There were increases for other students in the school. Disciplinary incidents for white students increased by 64% and 130% for Asian students. This resulted from teachers fairly reporting disciplinary infractions as they occurred. There were major increases in classroom achievement for students of participating teachers. Students earned more grades at the above average or B level. The program also had an influence on student achievement for this school. While the standardized scores for math remained almost the same, there was a decrease in the number of students who were partially proficient for language arts. One of our speakers was a language arts teacher, and during a meeting with the other language arts teachers, she told them that the reason that students were underperforming was because the teachers did not have good classroom relationships with their students. From that point on, the language arts teachers focused their efforts on maintaining positive classroom relationships with their students, which ultimately impact standardized test scores. We know now that the cultural relationship training program will increase student achievement, reduce student disciplinary infractions, and reduce special education referrals. The cultural relationship program will also reduce cultural bullying because when teachers accept students for their cultural differences, students are also more likely to accept other students who are culturally different. For more information, contact us at 856-566-3267. You can also email us at info@dlcconsultantgroup.com.